Did you know there is a common mistake many of us are making, including myself, over on Ancestry.com? Today, I'm going to invite you to stop making this mistake. The mistake that we often make is to fail to go beyond the hint. When we navigate, as I'm going to show you in just a little bit, to the hint, we look at that record and we think, oh, that's for our ancestor, and we move on. But I'm going to show you how one hint turned into pages and pages and pages of family history documentation on our ancestor. I promise you, if you will stop doing this one incorrect thing, you may just break down brick walls or have more material to write fabulous family histories. Now on Ancestry, a number of times when I find hints that I wasn't expecting, it all comes from the leaf hints. So you can access your leaf hints from the little icon up there, search all hints. I have multiple trees on Ancestry, so I go ahead and I click on this one. I'm gonna filter by last name. One of my last names on my surname table that I'm almost always researching is the Zemsteins. Now, I have a lot of Zemsteins I could filter through. There's 6 pages. I'm going to filter down to Robert, and I'm going to see Robert Walter and Robert Victor. The other way I can actually see some new hints is to be on my tree. So let's go back to the tree, click on that one. And here is a shaky leaf for Robert Victor Zemstein. So 2 ways. Sometimes I'm in the pedigree view, and sometimes I'm over just browsing hints. So I'm going to click on Robert Victor and go see the hint that we saw earlier. So I clicked on hints, and now we see a hint for the Canadian World War I CEF personnel files from 1914 to 1918. For Robert Victor Zemstein, his birth is 26 December 1896, and that matches what I already have. And his mother's name is Adeline, and I have an Adeline. So far this index is smart. I love how this record is sideways. Now, some of you may not know how to change the orientation of this image. You might be trying to figure out how to read it. Well, click on these tool buttons, and then you're going to have this pop-up screen, and notice right there it said rotate to the left. Oh, that's so much better. So when we look at this image, just zooming it in, I'm actually using a roller on my mouse. I can see a number of great details on this Canadian military records. I have his ID number, his rank, the unit he served in, his name, where he served, as well as the street to send back to his next of kin. So I have more evidence of a time and place where an ancestor lived. Gotta love that. As well as his signature. Yay! Okay, how many of you like signatures? I love to see my ancestor signatures because especially when you don't have a photo about an ancestor, or even when you do, I really like to see their handwriting. So the next thing that we should do, remember I said you can't just stop here and think, oh, that's great. I saved my family tree. We're going to move on. No, I want you to always get in the habit of going a page forward and a page back or more. So we're going to go a page forward and we have a blank page. Not very helpful. Should you stop there? I hope you're hitting the no icon in our emojis, but we're going to go one more page just to ensure that I'm not missing something. And as it turns out, it's upside down. So we're going to go over here and we can rotate left or right. And then we're going to zoom in and we're going to look for a name. And if we come up here to the upper right, we're going to, it's the middle. Private Henry Louis Zamak. There's another way it was written, Private Zamak. That's not my guy. Okay, no problem. You do want to check even if it isn't about your ancestor, because what if it was? And what if you're missing great details? So it's not. Now let's go the other way. So I'm going to click the right arrow button that's on screen, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to zoom out actually, and my record's upside down. That's okay for now. Go another page forward, And this is kind of cool, a little letter, but now we have to turn this around again. I wish they had a flip or rotate 180. That would be handy. This is about my ancestor. And then this is about my ancestor. It's a blank card. But this is about my ancestor and my ancestor and my ancestor. So we're going to keep going, and we're going to see lots and lots and lots of pages about your ancestor. And you're just going to keep clicking. I mean, if you hit a gold mine like this, oh my goodness gracious, you're going to be thrilled to no end. And that's an envelope, so I'm thinking we're at the end of this packet. And nope, we're not. Keep going. Oh my goodness. Now this one, yep, that's another Zumstein. Wow. Can you imagine what you're missing if you don't keep going? So we're going to keep going, see how many records. And then for those of you who want to stick around, we're going to dive into what we see. And I don't know everything that's here, but we'll take a look anyway. Now we're in a different last name. So when did it end? I think right there. That's a lot of pages. I lost count. Now, a number of things that you can do is you can actually download this to your computer to process further. Click on save to your computer, but it says this can't be saved to your tree because it's an index. No worries, because you have that first page saved to your tree, but we can save it to our computer by clicking save, and then it will give us our computer file folders, and we can save. We have to do every page one at a time, but no worries, this is great stuff. So let's go back to the beginning. So now we're looking at this document, and I have Robert Victor Zumstein. I'm not entirely sure if that's his handwriting. I'd have to go back and compare. But we have his rank, his number, and we have 1st something Ontario Regiment. I think it's Canadian, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. 1st Depot, probably department in Britain. We have a number of little notes up here, but what I really like on this document is enlistment place, Toronto, and then a date. So now I can build out a timeline. You don't want to just grab one of the dates in this record. You want to grab all of the dates so you can track your ancestors' movements and make a virtual map. Just make a map over on Google My Maps, which we've talked about before on this channel. Check the show notes for all of the videos that I'm going to mention. But I also have his birth date. Now, if you can't find a birth date on a birth certificate, then this record is providing you evidence that this might be his birth date. You always have to be careful because sometimes people lie to the government to get into the military, but it is an alternative place to find a birth date if you're missing one. We have next of kin, Mrs. Adeline Zumstein, mother. This is evidence of a relationship. If you are trying to write a 4-generation report for a client or for a project or to become a professional genealogist, you have a piece of direct evidence that establishes relationship, son to mother, plus an address, and that's also handy. So moving forward, just some of the other things that I noticed in here that were particularly interesting. So this is a discharge record. And what I really like about this is that he tells me he served in France and England. We already knew about that. And we have physical descriptions. This is great. He's only 5'6". So my eldest daughter is really mad that she didn't get a lot of height. Well, her great-grandfather is 5'6", and he was slightly taller than his wife, so she must be short. And then my grandma Helen was short, and then my mom was short. And so, yeah. And then my mom's side of the family, they were short, so my daughter didn't have any luck. But we can also see the complexion is medium, the eyes are brown, the hair color is fair. And look at this. So I have photos of Grandpa Zumpstein, but I never looked to see that he has a chicken pox scar on his forehead. And now I have to go back and look at that. But this is pretty fascinating details if you don't have photos of your ancestors, or to help you know more about your ancestors. So if you have Canadian military ancestors, you want to come over to Ancestry, I'm sorry, this is well worth a year subscription, because if you had to scan this by yourself and then look it all up, it would take you a lot of time. Plus traveling to the archive, I mean, can you imagine how much it's going to cost me to go from New Mexico to the archives in Canada to access this record? Yeah, it's cheaper to get an Ancestry subscription. So this packet alone is worth a year's subscription. But you're going to find other collections are just as awesome on Ancestry. So I don't work with them. I don't get a kickback, but you do want to go check it out if you need to. All right, so this is a medical examination. This is kind of fun. Again, it tells us more details about what he looks like. He doesn't have any problems in his different systems. That's great. There was another one where it actually, oh, is it this one? Yes, it told me what his vision was. And how far he can hear. That's pretty great. So the health history is kind of nice. There's even dental examination, and it tells me that he got some fillings and that he did get dental treatment when he was in England. 4 fillings right there. Pretty cool stuff. I don't want to bore you too much. I did want to show you one more in this collection. Here it is. Now, I can't read it very well. I'm going to have to take some time to transcribe this as best as I can, share it with some others to get their feedback. But now we have his service report. So the date, and notice it's not in the way Americans write dates, but they have the day, 28, the month, 4, which is April, and 1919. From whom it was received, authority, record of promotions, appointments, reductions, casualties, transfers, and posting. So basically you have a timeline of where your ancestor went. So the April 24th, June 18th, and then it continues on. There's another document that it goes multiple pages and you can follow their service reports. So great details here in these documents. This one is full of markings that are driving me crazy, but there's a lot of dates. Arrived October 8th, he arrived here. November 1st, he's here. November 1st, he goes there. November 17th, he's over here. And this is a good track record of where he's going and traveling around. Wasn't that fantastic? I want you to go out and explore all of the hints that you have and make sure that you've gone a page forward and a page after, or multiple pages forward and pages after. If you're ready for something more about using Ancestry.com, be sure to check out the top playlist. And if you're ready for something that was chosen specifically with you in mind, check out the bottom playlist. So I invite you to Wasn't that fantastic? What other documents